was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I am Jared, and we are concluding the DCEU, baby.
Yeah, woohoo!
Yeah, so today we are talking about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I gotta say, while it's not as good as the first movie, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. The only downside I give it is the stupid stinger.
Yeah, that's about the only part where I'm like, yeah, this sucks. But other than that, considering what had previously been coming out, this is actually pretty solid for a movie.
It felt like a return to form.
Yeah, because here's the thing about this, and by the way, again, it further shows that they were heavily based on Jeff Johns' Aquaman run. That's why I brought the omnibus out. Which,
Yep.
hey, that's one of the best Aquaman ones. One of them. Not the best, but it's one of them.
Yep, and it's based off of towards the end of his run.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like a lot of like really cool stuff this movie does. Like it introduces more of like Atlantis and like more Atlantis lore. Now, in between the movies, there was a tie-in comic that came out, and the important thing about that tie-in comic is that Vulko is dead.
Yep.
He gets a virus, and I'm sure it's because that they couldn't get Dafoe to come back. I'm sure.
But he was too important to just say, "Oh, he's off doing something else."
Yeah, exactly. He would have to show up at one point. Now, what I do think is kind of interesting, I do love how like this movie does play off of the so let me get this movie did clearly like downplay Mira being in the movie for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, but she was still important enough in it.
Yeah, exactly, which I appreciate, and it's kind of cool seeing that. But so the movie is basically Black Manta gets his payback on Aquaman because of what happened in the previous movie with like his father and such.
Now, here's something else. This was actually a lot of elements from a storyline Jeff never got to, which was he teased it during, I think it was Forever Evil, I believe, was, that Orem was going to, like, they were asking, like, the rise of the kingdoms or something, and Jeff never got around to it. Elements of that were put into this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that was always one thing that was like, he never got to that, did he?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he never really did. But the thing about this movie that I think really does well is particularly this Arthur is a crappy king, which when you see like in ZSJL or like even the previous movie, he doesn't seem like the kingly like character, but that fits with his character.
Yeah, the first movie ended where you think he could be a good king, but then it's a case of reality hitting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I didn't know that like I didn't know that like what was entailed with being a king. It's like I've made an enormous mistake.
Now I will say this: I do love that this is a brother cop movie. Instead of buddy cop, it's brother cop kind of, or buddy bros.
And they have like a lot of cool like chemistry with like let's say like Arthur and Orm and stuff, and they do really well. I love where it plays off of the fact that Aquaman he always wanted a brother, and then he turns out his brother's a total a-hole. And I like how this movie plays into Aquaman's like relationship with aquatic life, like with Topo and Storm, the seahorse. They did a lot of cool stuff with that.
One thing I also do like, it goes back to what Jeff did for both Sinestro and Black Adam. He looked at what was established with the characters and asked them, and then asked, wait, why are they so stereotypically evil given stuff like this? Like, if Sinestro was once a Green Lantern, how did the Green Lanterns pick, the Guardians pick him and all that? Yeah. And so in this case, they're half brothers. So it's like, why would he just be completely like, "Mwahaha," and
Yeah.
all that?
And
Yeah,
another thing that I love about this movie, it shows that Orm is not a straight up bad guy. He
that's
was
what I'm
just
saying. Yeah,
yeah, he was just doing what he thought was right for his people. And you really see that, like, particularly, you notice he starts to soften up to Arthur when Arthur basically tells him, "I don't want to be king, bro."
exactly. Now, it's the thing that I like that Jeff does. He looks at him and be like, are these characters, given their backstories, truly evil, or was it just simple, basic writing that did it? And if you notice, yeah, Orm, even in the comics, was on that route of being maybe not fully redeemed, but at the very least, like, be on aligned with Sinestro and Black Adam.
Well, here's the thing on that. In the Forever Evil tie-in for this, he saves a kid.
And the kid's mother, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like he's like a really bad guy. One of my favorite things Jeff Johns did is in the Green Lantern run where Hal asks, "Hey, Sinestro, were we ever friends?" He goes, "Jordan, we'll always be friends."
That's the saddest. That's the thing. We were always friends. Yes.
That's the tragedy of it. And I'm like, see, that's what you know. See, here's the thing, Robert. I'm actually really glad you brought this up. This is how you do the whole like sympathetic villain, but not undermine them being a villain.
Again, because you're looking at what was already established, and then be like, wait, why are they so stereotypically evil?
It's like, but it's
Exactly.
like,
Like here's an example. In Emerald Dawn 2, when they revealed Sinestro, it's a case where you're just like, how? How did he become a Green Lantern? If this is how he was acting, how did the Guardians not already realize something was wrong?
yeah, exactly. And it's like even with this, it shows that again, all Orm is he's one. And you know what's interesting? Orm has a lot of justifiable arguments, so it's not
Oh
like
yeah.
he's like I want to kill the surface world because they're surface dwellers. No, it's because they're polluting the sea and killing us.
And if you also remember, he's not the one. Like, he's only like wanted to initially go to war, not because of his own hatred or bigotry. He did it because Volk. I just forgot his name now. You know,
Volko.
Volko triggered it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and he's only reacting.
Yeah, exactly. And I really appreciate that. And in this, so the other thing that I like about this is that this threat is relevant, particularly in this movie as opposed to the first one. This movie is small scale in terms of the scale of the threat, so that it's not like where's Batman when this is going down.
Yeah, but it's a threat that could escalate fast.
Oh yeah, 100%. So the basic idea of this is that Black Manta discovers this trident that was used by I think it's Atlan's brother, if I remember correctly.
Yep, the old king. Yep.
Yeah, and he was this he was this evil dude that was that essentially turned his own people into zombies. And there was this great battle, and his soul was like trapped in the trident. So you kind of see that like Black Manta is being controlled by the trident. I almost said by Aquaman. That'd be something.
Yeah.
And so it's like so Aquaman has to like fight that when Manta attacks Atlantis. So he goes after Manta. He breaks Orm out of the Deserter Kingdom. Man, that's hard to say
Because he's the only one who knows where everything where things are.
Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say, I love how we basically get a Mos Eisley Cantina scene in this movie. I'm like, okay, that's really cool. I like that.
Now, I would say this. Can I go back to what I was saying about not liking the Stinger? The Stinger, it's fine if this was not the last DCEU movie.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Here's what I would have done. You could have kept the Stinger. Here's what you could have done. You know the scene at the end of the movie when he's giving his speech to the UN? You could have had like scenes where it flashes to each of the Leaguers watching it as a way of like them saying, okay, we have to come together. And it's like the way of like going full circle and then it ends. That's what I thought they were going to do.
Yep, it was basically Aquaman's I Am Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. I also don't like the other part I don't like is when he goes, I'm Aquaman. Woohoo! I'm like, you just gave a serious UN speech. What are you doing?
True, but I think it was also reminding us he's not a king.
Oh, he's not a conventional king.
Conventional king, that's what I mean.
And I gotta say again, this movie does further tell me how much I do like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. He did a good job with the role. Let's face it.
Yep, and this was a good send off. And
Yeah, exactly. To him and his world and stuff.
and I will
And
say this about
yeah,
Mara: as much as I don't like her, she did a good job still.
yeah, exactly. We have to put that addendum on there. As much as Heard is not that good of a person, we liked her portrayal of Mira.
Because she nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. She definitely did. And but it's like so the idea here is let's see what else. Oh yeah. So they do the whole thing and they find where like Black Manta is. And it turns out so Manta has been burning this Atlantean fuel called orichalcum, which is
Oh,
essentially
that
yeah, go
ties
ahead.
into Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like destroying the environment because of like the fumes. It's basically an analogy for burning fuel, essentially.
Right. Orichalca, by the way, you know what I know that from?
What?
Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, so it's actually tied to Atlantean stuff.
Yep.
That makes sense. So then, continuing on with the movie, essentially what happens about if you got guys in the chat that are watching have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. But yeah, so
Yeah.
they fight the island, and what I do love, I love when the Atlantean Navy shows up. Hey, what's up, Cameron? And like they sink the entire damn island. I love that. Is so cool. Again, these
Hmm.
movies are so good at making water look cool.
Agreed.
Like, and I love the scene where like he's buried in rubble, and then Mira like saves him, and then you get that shot of like the sun through the water, and that's like helping, and it's like it's her like she's an angel.
And the funny thing is, they did this all like they didn't have to be like Cameron and wait till technology caught up.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So then, the other cool part that I like is so Black Manta has the submarine that uses a sonic weapon. Now, obviously, sonics and water don't mix well. So what
Nope.
Arthur does to jam them is he just has a bunch of whales blast them with whale noises because the sound waves is good. And what that does is that when they do fire the sonic cannon, it backfires and blows up the sub.
Mm-hmm.
I go, oh, that's cool. And then what happens? This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Actually, it is my favorite scene. So Black Manta kidnaps Aquaman's son.
Of
Now
course.
again,
We
and
know
the history of this is like, oh no.
no, they were never gonna do it. We know in the
Are you
movie.
sure? Because there were a few times because in one of the test screenings, people were like, I can't believe what they did with that baby.
Ooh.
So I think they did do it. They filmed it, but then when they got backlash, they undid it. In other words,
Which probably is also what led to Mira's role being trimmed. But let's be honest, if he died, no way in hell was Mira going to be a footnote.
yeah, exactly. So then Aquaman shows up, and then we get this dope Trident on Trident fight between Arthur and Manta. And this fight is choreographed so well. It's like a lightsaber fight, but with like, oh, that is so good.
Agreed.
But yeah, so it's one of those like occasions when there was like where like you can definitely tell that like the people behind the movie like really got the character and managed to like make him again. They made let me put it this way. Say what you want about the Snyderverse and all these movies, they made Aquaman a badass. Because again, I mean, Aquaman was starting to be recovered from the joke like level because you had like Peter David's run, Jeff Johns' run, DCEU Aquaman, but he still had that public perception though of people that didn't read the stuff.
Thank you, Entourage.
Then you get an Entourage, yes. Then you get this. And it's like, it's a point where in the Shazam 2 movie, they go, and Aquaman's all manly. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there you go.
Well, again, it's Momoa. Has he ever not been manly? I mean, besides that commercial where the joke is he's not so manly.
No, I know. But
I love that commercial.
Has Momoa ever not been a badass? No. Even in the movies that he's done that may not have been the best movies like Conan, he still plays a badass.
Or in Minecraft.
Yeah, I still say, or like in Fast and the Furious, he was a great villain.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, that Conan movie is extremely underrated. I like that
Right.
movie.
Yep, and of course he's gonna nail it as Lobo.
Because the man is Lobo.
His Aquaman was practically Aqua Lobo.
That's the thing. And Gunn had said that like it's very rare that you find a like actor who literally embodies the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is extremely like uncanny how well he. In fact, everyone thought he was going to play Lobo when even he thought he was going to play Lobo when DC called him up. And they're like Aquaman, and he goes, "Okay, cool."
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
regardless, so we get the epic fight. And I like how Aquaman still tries to save Manta, but Manta won't do it. And then we get the scene where Orm and Aquaman both grab the evil trident, and they're both being like almost controlled by the king. And then they use their brotherly bond to like break out of it. And it's like I really did dig that because you see them going from enemies to like legit brothers, and I really appreciate that.
Again, it's a case of was he fully redeemed? No, but he's on the road to it.
Yeah, it's if they gave him more movies, he would have been.
Yep. Again, it's like what they were doing in the comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what I do like about Jeff is that when he does it, like if they were evil from the get go, he doesn't rework them at all.
No, it's or if there's a way to make them like not necessarily good, but more morally ambiguous, but not undermine the character, he'll do that.
Exactly. Like I said, when it comes to and their whatever their backstory is.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone else get Thor and Loki vibe? Oh yeah, for sure.
Hands down, I did.
Which is kind of funny. In this case, I would say Momoa is more of the Loki.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Loki, that would be hilarious.
Too big.
And Jay Heat's here, so I'll play his intro. What's up, dude?
Flame on. How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, to answer what you just said, Jared, he's too bulky.
Yeah, exactly. But Somar says, what's your favorite series, movies, comics with Aquaman in it, like Super Friends, Aquaman 2018? Zack Snyder's Justice League and Aquaman are my favorite movies. If you want comics, Peter David or Jeff Johns are the way to go for
and Dan Abnett.
Aquaman stuff.
Dan Abnett
was close third, but if I had to rank them, I'd go with Peter David because that's a classic run start to finish.
In my mind, it's David, Johns, and Abnett.
Again, thank you, Mark Way, for doing that tribute in JLU.
Yeah, exactly. It's like those three runs, like Aquaman is one of the few books in Rebirth. That's the reason why I can't say all of Rebirth was trash. But yeah, so Jay Heat, how are you? What'd you think of Aquaman 2?
First off, I want to apologize to everyone for CLD. My eldest brother's graduation was this weekend, and they made a big bash out of it, so I couldn't get to my setup.
No worries, dude.
No problem. I got it. It's all good, bro.
But other than that, I liked Aquaman 2. My biggest concern was that they were going to go with the story. Basically, with the story's the actual story, this is based on the source material, is infamous for, especially if you remember the test screenings.
Wait a minute. Oh, you mean, well, only part of it was the son of Aquaman. That part, yeah.
But in previous cuts or test screenings, they actually were gonna, have the whole Aqua Baby subplot, and they edited it and they removed it.
Yeah. You want to bet then they would have eventually brought Andy in?
I think so. I think eventually they would have done. It would have had him and Mara have 2 kids. I'm sure about it. And
okay.
CJE says my main issue with this movie is how they just removed Bulko. Yeah, but my bet is that wasn't necessarily in their control. It's like, yeah, he
was too important of a character. You couldn't just push off to the side, but they couldn't get the foe, so they had to write him out.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it's a case where you end up killing the character off to do it.
Yeah, and they did it in a tie-in comic. I get why people. I get that. I don't like that either. Let me be clear on that. But you know what? With the reason why that doesn't affect my rating of the movies because I get why. There's a good reason for that.
Exactly.
But anyway, so Jay, continue.
Basically, for those who don't know, the main reason, well, this is the main what Black Manta is an underestimated villain anyway,
Yeah.
underrated. But the one thing he's truly infamous for is the fact that Manta is responsible for the unaliving of Aquaman Jr.
Yep, Arthur Jr.
Arthur Jr. Thank you. And if you were actually researching and paying attention to the media campaign for this movie, at the time, granted, we don't know whether they edited or this was edited out or this was just a rumor, but they were going to have something along those lines. In the original comic, it was devastating.
Oh, and in fact, this was a golden age story.
Exactly. This was
It's
like
this was before they died with a thing. In fact, I don't know who died first, Arthur Jr. or Pharaoh Lad from the Legion.
I want to say they were around the same time. I know it's the same year, but I think the releases of those issues were months apart. But
Yeah, because those were the two biggest deaths of comic characters.
Yeah, exactly. And it was one of the few times they actually killed a kid, right?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, they infanticize.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, Cameron says, I am only saddened that we may not get another actor to play Black Manta because the guy who did him did it amazingly.
You know what? I could see them bring him back.
Maybe, but I hope this is another character I hope they do because I agree with Cameron. He nailed it.
I feel some villains they could bring back.
Because the thing about the actor that they had, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not even gonna try. You know who I'm talking about. Thing about him, whenever he talks about Aquaman, the facial expressions, you feel the hatred he has for Aquaman. He nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
solid performance all across the board.
And rightfully so.
And then Cameron says, I remember looking that up after watching Young Justice Season 2. Black Manta only became more badass to me. Yeah, Black Manta is honestly a really underrated DC villain.
Unfortunately, that's because eventually the Aquaman writers started to do less and less with him because, well, I think because they moved so far away from his the deaths of Junior that people didn't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Green Goblin. You can't get away from killing off Gwen.
Yeah, exactly.
It was in poor taste then. It's in poor taste now.
Yeah, exactly.
But a quick side tangent before we move on because I didn't get a chance to say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The only saving grace of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, the movie version, is the fact that Jason Momoa came back as Lobo. That is the saving grace of this movie.
I think it looks pretty good on its own.
The aesthetic is fine, but it plays right into Gunn's wheelhouse where he keeps retreading Guardians of the Galaxy over and over and over again.
Jay, to a point, you're right, but I think it's also a case of where, and there's something Jared and I talked about yesterday, is that when you really think about it, Woman of Tomorrow is better done at the start of her career, not later on.
Oh, that part I agree, because in the original comic, Kara is just off-world for her 21st birthday. That's really all this boils down to. She just falls into the lap of everything going on.
Yeah, but her doing it this way at this point, where it's like it's the whole New 52 or Joe Kelly Supergirl, where it's like, I was sent here to keep an eye on my cousin, not to be a hero.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like anyway, pretty much with that. Yeah, but how is Young Justice better than DCEU? Has good writing. I would say so. Do you think Aquaman is actually stronger than Namor? Yes, I would say so.
They have similar abilities. It's a close fight because Namor technically predated Aquaman by like 2 or 3 years.
Except I don't think Aquaman. I don't think Namor can talk to fish essentially.
No, but he can do just about everything else, including having little wings on his feet. So add flight to his utility belt.
True, but as Peter David put it best, that's your problem, Namor. You're too noble to cheat.
Yeah, exactly. But,
although I do kind of call a little BS on that.
Oh,
Because you know why? Because you know why? He's willing to cheat. He's willing to have affairs.
yeah, he's gonna make women cheat. So it's like, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Pun aside, Namor, those aspects of Namor and the Fantastic Four are essentially tales to where Reed is a notorious workaholic, and who happens to have the most essentially one of the most attractive girls in the world, but he's going to squander it because he's such a raging workaholic. It's more of their interactions is more of a cautionary tale than anything.
But I do love how they never cave in. If as much as you know, there are writers at Marvel who want to do it, they'll never do it.
Editorial will never let them.
Because what's up, Sean Frankie? Because Reed and Sue have like one of those pure marriages that you can't Peter and MJ that.
Nope.
You can get the point across without crossing into cheating territory. A lesser writer might not be able to help themselves, but a skillful one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, they've done so many stories where they are practically like it's made very, very clear. Oh no, those two love each other. They make it in the squabbles, but they'll always come back. They have never had a moment of giving in to temptation.
Yeah,
except for Sue and Black Panther.
Exactly. But so let's see. So it's when it comes down to writing, I'm subjective on because 3 or 4 losses. Season 3 or 4, I think he's talking about with Young Justice. But yeah, but for this, here's the thing. Short of the post-credit scene, I think that, and again, so Jahi, one of the things I said is that the way you could have made this movie a satisfying conclusion to the DCEU is take out the scene with the roach at the end and then have a scene where as Aquaman is giving his speech to the UN, you pan over and you see like Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Batman all watching the speech. That way kind of bring everything full circle, hashtag. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's the way to do it because remember, this was supposed to come out before The Flash.
Yep, but I would say, again, the roads would have been fine if it wasn't, and again, nothing against it, the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree to that? Like, the road thing would have been fine as a standalone.
Yeah, if it's not, but the problem is, it's the last movie.
I know.
So I'm like, okay.
Because the road thing kind of calls back to an earlier joke.
Yeah, Donjay says, I've always liked Aquaman, but people thought he was weak. And people forgot, the reason why he is he strong like that's because he's in the crushing depths of the ocean. I wish DC made an Aquaman game that went pretty hard. They did make an Aquaman game, though.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that, yeah.
Aquaman does not have a strong IP. It's great story potential, but not a strong IP.
The ideal time to try and start an Aquaman game would be after the first movie came out and made $1 billion.
Exactly, but they were already in a messy situation there. And again, you needed someone who was willing to do it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Again, that's the thing people have to remember. Any game, be it Aquaman, Wonder Woman, whatever, you need someone who's pitching the idea. Unless DC chooses to hire someone.
Yeah, exactly. Atlantis being revealed could have done so much more for future films. Maybe DCU can do it. Yeah, exactly. Now here's the other thing. It's like Aquaman is in many ways in the same position like Wonder Woman, except he doesn't have that contract where it's like they're required to publish one Aquaman comics. But what I mean is that it's hyper dependent on the creative because look at what we're having with Jeremy Adams. Fantastic run.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a give and take.
But it's like all it's dependent upon is like again who you get to write the character, and that's like again with a lot of and the thing about Aquaman is like he is the character that you could do like a lot of great stuff with the character. He's one of those characters that you could because here's the thing about Aquaman that does really well is with Aquaman, you can play into that Arthurian lore because when you look at Aquaman's story, it's very much like King Arthur.
Well, that's what Peter David played into.
Which is good. That again, that's what you want to do. Because
now, here's something I got to ask you. Who do you think is a truly better leader, Aquaman or Superman? And I mean as a leader.
In other words, who to lead the Justice League?
Yeah, not be an inspiration, but who would you see as a competent leader?
That's a good point, because here's the thing. I could say both, and here's why. Because Superman is like the ideal, everyone listens to him, and like he is like universally trusted. Now with Aquaman, Arthur is used to dealing with people that disagree and taking everyone's and taking differing opinions into account by because of the fact that he's a king and he juggles like the surface world and like the Atlantis world. So really, either way, if I have to pick one, I would have to go with Arthur. I have to go with Arthur.
And I have to say, yeah, and I have to say this as well. Injustice Aquaman from the main Earth was one of the best handlings.
Oh yes. Oh my God.
Especially when I love that bit when he reads the treaty and he's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like,
"Over all the sovereignty? What are you doing?"
And I know, and then he's like, "What kind of coward is my counterpart?"
Yeah, exactly. But okay, Cameron agrees with me. Being a king is much different than being a pillar. So Jay Heed, who would you say is a better leader, Clark or Arthur?
It depends on the situation, because again, Clark is the power of hope and inspiration, whereas Aquaman is more of a realistic leader. He was a king. He has strategic and combat experience. So it just depends on the situation, more often than not.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Unfortunately, let's be honest. The one unfortunate thing is Arthur's mostly known for leading the Detroit era.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'm sorry, the Detroit era, that's worse than anyone might complain about the blah ha ha era. At least it's remembered fondly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, when you have Gypsy and Vibe, great characters, but I'm sorry, that's even worse than the League we had in Doomsday.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Because at least the League in Doomsday put up a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
They got their butts kicked, but I would have seen Gypsy and Vibe. They would have been creamed within the word go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give you that. But in terms of this, it's like, yeah. So all in all, if I really have to rate this movie, and then we'll go into a general discussion before we like wrap up, I would say I would rate Aquaman 2 at like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. How about you?
8.
Right.
Hands down, a definite 8.
Yeah, it's not as good. The first movie's at a 9. It's not as good as the first movie, but it's actually pretty solid as a sequel.
Yep, and at least it was treated as a standalone movie. It wasn't bogged down like maybe we'll get a trilogy.
Yeah, it was like, no, if we have to end it here, this is what separates James Wan from like the creators behind, like, let's say Young Justice, is that he knew this was probably going to be the last Aquaman movie in this universe. Let me just end the story.
Okay, again, in Weissman's defense, it's the insurer trying to be like, if people want me back, it's to make sure he has it's job security. You know who else did that? Jared, you know who else did stunts like that and gave one of the longest comic tenures?
Who?
Chris Claremont.
But here's the thing, though. When you're dealing with this, at least put it. Don't set up like extreme. Like, here's the thing. You already had a thing that could be explored. You had the like teasing of Heroes in Crisis. By the way, in a little bit, Jahee and I will be going live. But the point is, you already had that. You didn't need the Supergirl being an apocalyptic fury.
Well, who knows what they had in mind? And Weissman clearly had something in mind.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you didn't know that, if you knew there was a good chance that you're probably not going to get another season, do not tease that.
But here's the thing, though: if he put an end, no one would be talking anymore and wanting it to start up again.
No, you could again.
He wants an ongoing universe. He doesn't want a finite one.
Well, how'd that work out for him?
Well, worked out great with him in Gargoyles. He's still continuing on where he left off, even in the comics.
No, but I'm talking about in the TV show.
No, I know, but it gets people wanting to do more.
Yeah, but again, you already had that all set up with the Heroes in Crisis stuff.
No, and I get that, but again, it's just doubling his bets.
Well, obviously that didn't work. And then Cameron says, I want to say Aquaman, but being a king is much different being okay, you already said that. Now, when it comes to the seventh member of the Justice League, I assume he's saying, is Aquaman the ideal choice? Yes, Arthur has to play a role because look at how much of, like, if his kingdom is all the underwater stuff, look at how much of Earth is covered by water.
Exactly. Which I would say this. Here's the ranking I would go for leadership. You know, I kind of realized, now, hear me out when I say this. You know what I compare when it comes to the hierarchy of the league? He is the Scotty of the Justice League.
I just
by that,
do it, Superman. I don't.
No, okay. What I mean by that is, what's the hierarchy? It's Kirk, Spock, Scotty.
Okay, I can give you.
So you have Superman, Batman, Huck, and Arthur.
No, I'm gonna dispute that because it has to be the Trinity.
Okay, but Diana. Oh, like, here's the thing though. Diana's good at going into battle.
No, I'm still putting her as the third.
All right.
I'm still putting her. Arthur can be fourth.
Fair enough. Okay, then that would be, who was fourth then on Sulu?
I guess so. I guess he's.
I think it was Sulu. I think it was Sulu.
Yeah, I guess.
Or was it Sulu that was third? I keep on mixing. No. It was Scotty, then Sulu.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, the point is, he's really important to the hierarchy of power in the Justice League, pun intended.
Because I'll put this, Hal is nowhere near being a leader.
Hal, no. I mean, they kind of have been pushing it that way because of, like, him being the leader of the Green Lantern Corps.
But being the leader of the league is like he has too many responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you that. But yeah, it's like overall 8 out of 10. But yeah, so in the meantime, okay, everyone, just ask us any questions that you guys would like to ask before we go, before we end this, and then I'm going to Jay Heat's channel.
Anything you guys want to ask,
or anything we want to talk about?
Yeah, whatever you guys want.
Well, since you weren't here for CLD, Jay Heat, why don't we ask him some of the topics we talked about?
All right. So, what did you think of the Supergirl trailer?
Like I said, the highlight of that trailer for me was, again, seeing Jason Momoa as Lobo. But I actually read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. It's decent enough. I mean, like the biggest critique of that story, the comic wise, is just True Grit, but with Supergirl. So I'm intrigued by it at the very least to see how it applies to live action. But again,
I don't think it's going to be as gritty as Woman of Tomorrow was.
Yeah, they're definitely going to tone it down.
And I was talking to Britt about this last night. It's like one of the problems with the movie so far. Again, this could be just in the trailer, but it seems to me that they took out like a lot of the because one of the good parts about Woman of Tomorrow is the visuals of it being like a mix of fantasy and science fiction, like with the pirate ship and her having the sword. It looks like they kind of took that out in favor of like making a generic sci-fi battleship.
True, but that also could be for cost.
You're telling me it's hard to make a pirate ship out of wood?
No. I get that. Okay, you got a point there. That's not what I meant, but
that's hard.
Okay, so Jay, what about lanterns?
I kind of hate Lanterns got delayed, but I'm not surprised by it.
Well, I'm talking about the preview.
I actually did enjoy the preview, though. I just hate it got delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed the preview a lot just because that's so what a more mature Hal would do as a mentor.
Where he like puts him in he puts the ring on the dashboard and makes the car like drive off a cliff and goes, okay, save yourself.
Like what?
Cameron asked, what would be our idea for a third Aquaman movie?
Ooh.
Good question. Probably, if I had to say it.
They already did Throne of Atlantis for the first one.
Essentially, Throne of Atlantis. You could have done Aquaman and the Others.
You could have, but Here's the thing, though. The one downside is, given what they did with the second one, it wouldn't come off like a trilogy. It would come off just like a third movie.
Yeah, and you want, if you're gonna do that, you should have it come off as like as like an actual like movie.
But they haven't set up anything for a trilogy. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's no like big threat that they could also.
No, wait. We can do the hook hand.
Oh, okay, that works.
Have him lose his hand and become more and more jaded.
Because honestly, Momoa's Aquaman would look great with the hook hand.
Going so that he'd be like, kind of hard to clap with this thing. Geez, the jokes he can make. The jokes he'd make.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just imagining all the jokes he would make about that. Some dirty.
Yeah, you know he would.
He would make a butt scratching joke. You know he would.
Yeah, he would. Don J says, I've seen some Guardians of the Galaxy influence in the Supergirl trailer. I think they could have made her go to Warworld to fight Mongol. Would that be a good story, by the way?
No.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. That's not Woman of Tomorrow then.
And again, they're clearly going for a story of her being a case of where she needs to actually come to grips with what the S means. Because again, like Joe Kelly in New 52, it's a case where she didn't ask for this. She didn't ask to have to be a superhero when it's like, I'm a teenage girl who lost her planet. Why do I have to save these people who'd rather destroy themselves?
And here's the other thing. With the Mongol thing, it would have just been straight up a rip off of Warworld Saga then.
Yeah. Am I right, though? Would you guys say that's correct about how Supergirl is? It's like, why do I need to save these people who'd rather sooner blow themselves up?
That's true. I could see that.
True.
Yeah, because I think that's what led to her leaving with her cousin, from her cousin. Because she's like, again, like, I didn't ask for this. I was here to raise you. That's it. What is this? I should help the world. What has this world done for me?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be honest, I don't mind. I actually like that idea of Supergirl rather than she's immediately like, oh yeah, cuz I'm going to be just like you. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why would she?
Exactly.
If you were in her shoes, would you?
Oh, there.
No, because it's like, again, she shows up and her intention was to raise Clark and protect him. She shows up and it's the opposite.
Yep, it's now like, wait, you're an adult? But wait, what? What? The S means what now?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, she wasn't raised on Earth, so she doesn't have that connection to mankind.
Exactly. And now, does she basically saying, let him rot? Well, to a degree, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the CW brought back the whole Supergirl is just like him back to Joe Lyons, and that was the part that not a lot of people like about it because it just turned her into female Clark.
That's exactly what they would. She was just female Clark. This makes her unique, and again, that's why I'm
Jimmy Olsen.
Not really. I'm sorry, that was not Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen becoming Guardian.
That was Harold.
Hot dude, no.
I'm sorry, that was Harold.
Yeah, exactly.
You know why I say that? Because Harold was also Guardian. I mean, Teen Titans Harold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the only thing we were missing was Bumblebee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they largely did that, as a licensing thing. Like, if you can get away with making turning Green Arrow into Batman, I mean, I ain't gonna say if anything, the Superman of the Arrowverse would be Flash, technically, but semantics.
Well, yeah, but still. But like I said, that's why I've been in favor of the Woman of Tomorrow being used at the beginning, because again, it matches. It matches with, like we said, New 52 and Joe Kelly's run.
As long as they don't keep her in this character for like ever, then it's like, okay.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking she's going to be more understanding, be more willing to be a hero. Doesn't mean that she's going to be exactly like her cousin. No, she's still going to have a rough edge, but she'd be more like she'll probably come to Earth like, okay, cuz, I get it. I get why we need to protect these people. We have a power. It's our responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility.
That's basically what she's going to learn.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine. But again, I want to see, are they actually going to follow through on this? They could. But it's like, if they don't follow through on this, no. If they don't, if she stays like if they keep up with the drunk BS, then I'm gonna be pissed.
Now, Jay, what do you think?
Like I said, like you said, the New 52 Supergirl run, that's decent enough characterization, and the potential is here. Don't get me wrong, the potential is here, but I just feel like, especially knowing James Gunn's comedic style, he's gonna drag this out.
He did that in the Superman movie.
And even don't get me wrong, Superman made its money back. It did decent, but it just, am I the only one who felt like Superman 2025 was more of an ensemble piece?
I still disagree, because I see him as being guest stars in it.
Yeah, the Justice Gang played a supportive role. Don't get me wrong, but
that's why I say an ensemble is people who are. It's like the Guardians, where they're equal.
Yeah, but the Justice Gang took up a lot of the spotlight. You get the main story beats and maybe an obligatory action scene here and there, but you don't really focus too much on
I say,
the aspect.
Let him finish. Robert.
Yep. Sorry.
You don't really focus too much on Clark Kent as an individual, as a person. It's just Superman 24. It's just Superman for the majority of his screen time, and the outside of the harem thing. I mean, I'm not the biggest.
There's no reason to change that. And Gunn's reasoning, saying, "Oh, I needed something to make my Superman unique," and I go, "You picked that one?"
It's just like you already did. You made Crypto Supergirl's dog.
Yeah, and it's like, particularly in a movie where Gunn himself has said it's about an immigrant, so you make the place that he comes from evil? Wow.
Now, okay, I gotta do this, guy. I saw some people bring it up. When Gunn has said recently that when solely someone feels like you relate to a character, a hero, because they're just like you, it's a bit of or like you're doing all this stuff to be just like it. That's being narcissistic. When you're doing it solely, not in general, you can relate to them, but when you're solely looking for, oh, they're just like me, gets narcissistic.
Oh, you mean like Tom King on Batman?
Okay, not like that.
I'm just saying, according to Frank, that's what he did.
To Frank Miller?
Miller.
Okay, no. What I mean is, like, the people feel like, oh, Superman is an immigrant, just like me, and so it should be just about like an immigrant.
Well, my point bringing that up is like, because Gunn himself said this movie is about like in many ways like about like mirrors the immigrant story, but I'm like, then don't make it so the immigrants send him it's like his home country sends him somewhere to rape everyone. That's the thing. That's the point.
I can't condone the harem twist. But I get what they were trying to go for. Like, that Krypton is so advanced, so technological that humanity would be seen as inferior to them, and they're just using them as a means to preserve the Kryptonian race on a new planet. However, in the most convenient manner, in the moment they send Clark away. I get what they're trying to say, but the whole thing just came out wrong. I mean, and then the harem twist on top of that, it's overblown.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But and I want to see, but that's the other part with Supergirl I'm interested in, to see how they address that. But yeah, all in all, good movie. And again, next week is John Carter of Mars. So anyway, Jay, where can we find you, and what have you got coming on your channel?
You can find me at JHeat75 or JHeat Blaze. I got a collab with Jared coming up in just a few minutes, and which will be New Direction Heroes in Crisis. And then follow that, I have another collab set up with Nick. I mean, not Nick, Robert. Excuse me.
Yeah, I would say, excuse me.
With Rob.
That's quite a confusion.
With Robert, and we're trying to set a date for that one. So please.
Oh, I'm still good for the original date, dude.
Okay. That one we said.
Oh, I don't. Well, work is now work.
Guys.
Yeah, off screen.
Yeah, off screen. Yeah, we'll talk about off screen. But yeah, I also do gaming content, movies, entertainment. I just all across the board. So I like, comment, subscribe, and I thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Exactly. And Robert, how about you, dude?
Got links down below as I'm counting down to 650. As I said, where I'll cover Dan Slott's Silver Surfer Run.
Hell yeah. And then as for me, back Athena, because we're in the last week of it funding. If it doesn't fund, I'll just relaunch with a smaller goal. And if you guys have backed it, all you got to do is back at the exact same level you did. And guess what? We will be funded. So we're all good on that. Stay at work, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane, and Steve Trevor, Steve Never. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.